This conference will now be recorded.
All right, so today is Monday, March 4th, first full week of trading in March. Things were a little bit slow on Friday, but certainly going to be expecting things to pick up a little bit as we come back in. One thing I do want to go over first, just before we start with what we're actually going to have on our list, is take a look at Apple. Now, Apple has jumped above that 175, where we've been seeing that a ton of buying that was coming underneath. We know there was a huge amount of volume that came in at the close on Friday, as well at the pretty much right underneath 175, 174.97. And this morning coming into it, just keep an eye, 176, we already have ask prints, and pretty much every print that we've had this morning coming in has been, all the bigger prints has been buying. So certainly something to keep an eye on. The volume's not as great as I would like to see it, but at the same time, remember, we're waiting for a big day. We are in a volume dip right now where we've just been kind of sitting there in that consolidation. So it's certainly going to be looking for a real breakout type day. So keep your eyes on that. Let's take a look at what we have on our list. First is CIFS. So one thing I'm not too happy about, okay, we got a beautiful move this morning, but if you look, the move itself was really not on much volume at all. But my biggest concern is when we come down towards that 5 area, we just didn't really get any type of real new buying there, which I'm just not a big fan of at all. Coming into 750, you can see, almost everything. We got some good prints that came in around that 450 area, but nothing really at 5, and then also nothing really at 550. So that kind of worries me a little bit. But we do have this $4.70 print line, 36,000 shares, which isn't that crazy, but at the same time, because it's a smaller cap stock, I wouldn't expect to see too many really, really big prints that go on out there. So really what this comes down to is, first of all, the new buying needs to come in, because as of right this second, we're just seeing selling coming in this consolidation. And the number 2 thing it needs to do is it needs to be able to hold this 450. If we break below 450, it's not looking too good at all. And like I said, we just never really got that good buying that came in to justify this move that came all the way up to pretty much our 575 level. So overall, needs new buying. In order to continue, is going to need that new buying. It's going to also have to hold the original consolidation that we're talking about right here at 450. Next thing looking at is RKDA. So yes, on Friday, we can see it just kind of, it really just kind of faded down. It just didn't do much at all. But if we remember, we do have some really great buying that came into this from the previous day, from that Thursday. So if we go back, and it's not going to let me, of course. All right. So either way, so when we're talking about the amount of buying that we had coming into this, we know that it hit 10 a bunch of times. All right. So that 10 level, we have some great buying that's sitting back up there. This volume overall is nothing too great. And then once again, I'm just not seeing enough buying that came in around that 9 area. Although at the same time, we already know where the dominant market maker is sitting. We know that they're sitting up there at 10. We know that from Thursday. Now Friday, we had a huge volume day on Thursday. We ended up coming down on a smaller volume day. So it certainly does have room towards that upside. But the biggest thing is going to be that new buying that comes in. You can see volume is just lackluster pretty much across the board, even on the cheaper stuff that we see going on there and our everyday stocks. Volume is just very, very light right now. So it's going to have to hold this consolidation. Same type of deal that we look for in all of our cheaper stocks. We want to make sure that we see that consolidation hold, and we need that new buying to come in. Otherwise, we're going to end up seeing this thing come right back down. But overall, has beautiful buying up at 10. So really just looking for that volume trigger to come in to show us that we're going to be able to break out from there. Next thing I'm looking at is PLCE. Now, this is on the bottom of my regular list. And the reason it's on the bottom is because I'm just a little bit worried about it actually being able to trade. On average, trades about 580,000 shares. As of this morning, we have 148,000, which is great for pre-market volume. It's going to have to be able to continue. So we dropped all the way down here on pretty much nothing. You can see volume is just not really there whatsoever. One thing I am looking at, though, is so far this morning, almost every single bigger print that we've seen out there, 81, 80, 50, we have 82, has been selling print. So it looks like we're pretty much pulling up right now on absolutely nothing. There's really no buying that's coming in that's showing this the reason for this move to come back up. So I'm going to be expecting to look for a trigger back towards that downside. And remember, 81 is probably the spot where we have the best prints coming in, and it's been just kind of jumping up on those selling prints. So I'm going to be expecting, especially 85 coming up, big psychological level, going to be expecting to see something kind of hold there or show us more there. That's going to tell us that we're going straight down, or we're going to continue to, kind of pull up before we end up satisfying those sell prints that we had at that 81 level. Next is two side lists. So we have YRIV, which is on the side list. And the reason it's on the side list is because it just doesn't have a huge amount of opportunity. Now, on average, it does trade 55 cents. And you can see over the past, I mean, since pretty much, the middle of February, volume's really been picking up coming into this thing. But my only problem is how much it really has the ability to move. I mean, coming over one, we definitely have some great buying that came in. It's going to be a harder stock to read because of the fact that there's just so much volume that's being traded. We already have 4.2 million shares, but it's certainly based off the volume that we're seeing coming into this morning, it certainly has the ability to make a real big run. On average, 55 cents. You can see right here, 9 million is pretty much the high from a little bit after December. We're talking about 10 million. It already has 4.2. So we're going to be expecting a lot bigger of a range in there. It has great buying over one. It had a little bit of selling at that one point that I'm not really a huge fan of. That's kind of pushing it up, but it started with the buying side of things. So I'm perfectly fine with that. This is going to be one of those things that it's either going to run or we're going to see it die off. So whichever one that is, just make sure that we understand that it's not going to move in 50-cent and dollar increments. Based off the range being 55 cents, you're going to be looking at this thing more of, basically 10 cents and 25 cents in those area. A little mix that one, but over more buying, but needs to show us more. And that's exactly what it is. We're going to need to see some type of movement that comes back in there. It's holding the consolidation great, and we're coming to the highs of that consolidation. Hopefully it waits for us before for the market to actually open before it starts to run, but certainly going to be keeping my eye on that. And then BPTH. Let's not forget about that. So we know coming back up, another one where, coming towards that 9 level, on Friday, we did have great buying here at that 8, and it pulled all the way back because of the amount of times that it hit that 8. My biggest thing that I didn't like, remember, is that it didn't, when the first 2 times that it came to 850, it did not hit. It did end up hitting on the 3rd time. But not as much as we would have expected, but did make a beautifully strong run coming into the close. We have a little bit of buying at that 7 level. Nothing too crazy, but, it's another one where it has the buying that's up above it. It just would need to, once again, hold this consolidation. So we're going to be looking for it to hold pretty much right about 625. Really, just to be safe, we're going to be looking for it to hold the 6. If it breaks down underneath that 6 level, I'm not even going to be watching it anymore. But as long as it holds above that 6, and, right now, really, like I said, that 625 level, certainly shows the possibility and the opportunity. That's why it's on the side list. It shows all the variables we would need for us to be able to get back up there. Remember, NIO has earnings tomorrow morning, so plan accordingly. NIO story has not changed at all. Thanks for bringing that up, Derek. But overall, you know what? We have a ton of buying that's sitting at that 10 level. It's just going to be a matter of, it doesn't really need more. So we know what we're looking for there, and definitely, plan accordingly, especially for those looking to make some type of options play. All right, let's take a look at the scanners real quick from before. This is pretty much all I have. I don't see anything else out there that really interests me. MDGS, 602,000 shares, but this is one, it's just the way it's trading, just better things out there. You can see it's just starting to die off as we get towards 9 o'clock where we should be getting higher volume. Just nothing there that I really care too much about. Something new would have to pop up. And they're just better stuff for us to look at. IGC a little bit, but nothing really going on there. And then over to the loser side of things, you can see the list is just even smaller. There's just nothing really besides what we already have that shows too much of any real possibilities. Let's see, TGT, Target just jumped up, but not really nothing. All right, so we over our overnight stocks have made some decent moves towards that upside. Most of them had broken out a little bit, but that is not what I'm going to be expecting. I am still expecting a very large volume increase into a big day that's coming very soon based off of the volume patterns that we have sitting there. So once again, just keep that in mind, especially like a stock like Apple. So we have beautiful buying at 176. Remember, if we're going to get a day like we need to based off these volumes, and we get a volume bar that comes 60 million or somewhere in that vicinity, it's not going to be just be $1. So you don't have to try to jump the gun. Okay, there will be when the move happens, it's going to be a big move, and it's going to be in one specific direction. It shouldn't be all over the place with huge volume. It should definitely take a side. All right, right now being 176. Okay, obviously expect a pullback, and then off to the races. Now, anything else out there that I missed? Nope. All right, beautiful. So remember, classes start next week. If you're not enrolled, make sure you get yourself in those. We have a lot of wonderful things that we're going to be going over the next, the following 2 weeks from there. Looking forward to that. Other than that, I will talk to everyone in the chat room, and happy trading.